Hey everybody, and good Monday evening. Hope you had a good weekend. The weather was just sort of blah over the weekend, and today brought more of the same, a sea of clouds. Now, this is no surprise in northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania in December. December and January are very cloudy months around here, and yeah, today was no exception, and as a result, just like the weekend, there wasn't much of a diurnal temperature range across the region today. 29 is where we bottomed out just after 9 a.m. this morning, kind of a late morning low temperature, and then our high at 216 this afternoon was 34. 39 and 27 are the averages, and today's record 67 back in 1998. So that was also a La Nina winter, 98-99. And then in 1958, we had a record low of 7 degrees. Well, I mentioned, it's a cloudy time of the year, and this is the trace going back almost 2 weeks. And yeah, we've had a couple of days where we've had some sun, but more often than not, the clouds have won the battle. Time-lapse from Niles today shows the slate gray overcast. Now, we did have a few peaks of sun in the mix this afternoon. Also in the mix, a couple of snow flurries, snow grains late this afternoon and early this evening as well. I'm recording this video at 6:26, and at that time, a couple of random snowflakes out there. Actually, some holes in the clouds persist at this early evening hour. There's been some very, very modest lake effect out across Cleveland, down towards Mansfield this evening. Nothing to write home about. That is for sure. Actually, across the country, it is very, very quiet out there this evening. Very little going on for December. Typically this is a pretty active time of the year, but a little bit of rain down in the Carolinas, a little bit of rain in the far Pacific Northwest, but otherwise, wow, coast to coast. It is rather uneventful. Now, as we head through the night tonight, a little geeky meteorology here. The models and even the radar may try to show some blue, some flurry activity overnight, but actually there's going to be a punch of drier air at a key level above our heads tonight that should prevent much in the way of snowflake formation because of that dry air at a key level. But the air down here close to the ground will be fairly saturated, so what we might see as we head through the overnight is instead of flurries, some mist or a little drizzle, and with temperatures below freezing, it'll technically be patchy freezing drizzle. I think it'll all be pretty low impact, but it may be something to watch out for overnight tonight and first thing Tuesday morning. A little bit of light precipitation, and even though temperatures will be below freezing, because there are no ice crystals to form snowflakes up at that key level above our heads, it may be in the liquid form with those sub-freezing temperatures. Again, pretty low impact, and otherwise, cloudy day once again tomorrow. Now, we do have a warm front heading our way tomorrow, allowing temperatures to rise some tomorrow night, and actually a couple of flurries might be touched off by that warm front in the wee hours of Wednesday morning. Otherwise, a lot of clouds Wednesday, but at least it'll start to warm up, and that process will continue at the end of the week. Now, this is still a pretty cloudy day, I think, on Thursday, but you'll notice on Thursday, plenty of sunshine out across parts of the lower Ohio Valley into the Midwest, and some of that drier air will finally punch in by Thursday night and Friday morning, allowing for some sunshine as Friday gets underway. Bigger story as we get into the longer range after some weekend showers and then a cool down by Sunday and Monday. Beyond that, there's definitely been some warmer trends in the longer range. Now, if you watched Weather Geeks last week, especially after we got done with the snowstorm and we could talk more about the longer range, I talked about how very volatile modeling as we get into mid-December. What I mean by that is the models are struggling to latch on to the Pacific pattern, and as a result, a lot of chaos in the models downstream across North America. Now confidence is increasing that the tap to the Arctic is shut off here in mid-December. Much more of a zonal flow here at the jet stream level. If you trace these lines here on the 14th, so in about a week or 6 days anyway, these lines all trace back to the Pacific. They don't come from the Arctic, and therefore, the Arctic air is going to remain bottled up to our north and just does not look very cold by mid-December standards. So no surprise, today's update from the Climate Prediction Center has wall-to-wall, coast-to-coast, elevated odds of warmer than average temperatures in this 8 to 14 day period. And today's the 7th, so 8 to 14 days would take us from roughly the 15th through the 21st. In other words, we're getting pretty close to the Christmas holiday by the end of that 8 to 14 day outlook, and we can start talking about perhaps odds compared to average of a white Christmas this year. Of course, it's way too early for any forecast specifics for around Christmas time, but we can say that historical odds, 46% of an inch or more of snow on the ground Christmas morning, even though, we're not going to put out any sort of official forecast anytime remotely soon. With that kind of a pattern in the lead up to Christmas, logic would tell you that the odds of a white Christmas this year may be below the average. I wanted to take a look at some of the longer range modeling this evening to show you the extent of this expected warmth. And it may not be just during mid-December. You look at the climate forecast system here, later on in the month around Christmas time and the week between Christmas and New Year's, that looks pretty blowtorchy to me. When you start seeing those darker reds, even browns, I mean, yikes. That is a pretty warm-looking forecast at the end of the month. And then you look at the European, and after, again, brief cool down early next week, and maybe another brief cool down the following weekend, so like around, the 17th, 18th, 19th, somewhere in there, it just becomes a sea of orange again as we go towards the end of the month. Not dissimilar from what we had last year. If you remember last year, we had a pretty balmy pattern right around Christmas time. Of course, last winter was a very balmy winter. And, we can look back at historical data, and in these strong La Nina years, like we have this year, moderate to strong La Nina, if it was warm in November and December, every single time we run the table through December, through February, as far as the warmth goes. Now, that doesn't mean every single day is warm. You have your warm couple of days, or a cool couple of days. You even have a week maybe here and there where it's pretty cold. We're going to have some snow occasionally. But when I say run the table with warmth, that means that compared to the average, it seems very likely that if November and December end up warmer than average, which seems almost like a lock at this point, then historically speaking, it's almost a lock that January and February will follow suit. All that being said, I'm still going to do an update to the winter forecast tomorrow evening on 21 News at 6 and 11 and here on Weather for Weather Geeks. So we're a month out from the original winter forecast, and as I've done over the last few years, I like to do an update to the forecast about a month later, incorporating some of the recent model data and new thoughts, and we'll see if the official forecast has changed any from what you saw me do a month ago. Of course, a month ago you saw me do a pretty warm winter forecast, and I would be, I think the audience would be very surprised if suddenly the winter forecast was a lot colder, considering what I've said in this video and at other times as well. In the meantime, thank you for watching Monday night's Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see all you geeks back here on Tuesday.